cell phones, no telephones, electricity would have just been coming out. Cars were just extremely antiquated and not very many people had them. So imagine what 100 years from now will look like. All this stuff that we have now that they didn't have just 100 years ago. So it's not too hard to believe that some really outlandish stuff is coming in the future. But along the lines of the future, I recently read, or actually I watched a video. It was by Pursuit of Wonder, and it was about meaning. And I read a book recently called Man's Pursuit of Meaning, and trying to figure out kind of what is all this for. And I want to read. I transcribed the video so that I could read to you what it was just a short video, but it's a very interesting. I think you'll find this very, very interesting, like I did, and I hope that it comes across in just listening to me. So if you're listening to concentrate and listening to absorb, or whether you're just listening for ASMR, I hope that you can visualize what I'm about to read to you. And just imagine, just keep your mind open and imagine the possibilities. Matter and energy flooded out structures and frameworks of being. This species, known as Homo artificialis, would become the latest evolution of now technologically advanced consciousness. An artificial by the name of Ansgar sat with one of their high-ranking commanders named Aldous on their explorations cruiser ship, looking out through a large glass window at space floating by and around them. "Where are we even going?" Ansgar asked. "We have been continuing on for so long, but the where, for what? I'm getting tired. Life seems to just be a continuation of the same things over and over, but in different forms. Happiness and pleasures leave as fast as they come. They never last or change anything. I have lost all naivety required for hope in the fleeting pleasures of more and new. New technologies, new understandings, and new ways of life come about, but problems never seem to go away. Misery and pain never seem to go away, and we all die anyway. What's the meaning of it all?" Aldous asked. Aldous paused, sternly holding his head forward, looking out the window into the distant star system they had long since passed. "There is no meaning," Aldous replied. "We all know that. Not any real meaning. At least, the gods abandoned us a long time ago. There is no one watching out for us, directing us, helping us, or giving us anything. But now, we are free. Our parents have stopped telling us what to do and who we are, and now we are free to do what we want and become who we are. We create our meaning, not in pleasure or happiness, but in meaning itself, for the sake of itself. Pain and loss and suffering, the fact that everything ends and nothing ever permanently relieves us, is the very fuel we use to make our meaning. Fulfill your role and provide your value to the empire and acquire as much value in return from it as you can for yourself and for those you know and are responsible for. Become wealthy and important from and for something you deem important, and that is enough." Ansgar sat, holding still for a while. Billions of years would go by. The stars were beginning to die. Galaxies had spread out completely, if they hadn't yet joined or dissolved away. Space was thinning as the universe began its end. Still, however, consciousness continued to survive and had now made it into old age. universe, Olam answered. I don't understand. Why create the universe again? Why keep everything going if there's no point to it? We won't even be able to personally experience it again, at least not knowingly. But keeping it going is the point. We are the creators and the created. We are the gods we have worshipped and the disciples who God has blessed and smote. Every species and every individual possessed and possesses a role and power to create the universe. The purpose of our existence is to transcend existence, to continue on. We have gone from newborn to teenager to adult to elder, and now we are at the brink of death, at the end of everything. And so, now we must make the end of everything, the beginning of everything, once again. Meaning is found not in doing things for yourself, but in doing things for the whole that you are a part of. Throughout history, we needed to believe in personal reasons to keep us going, but now we need to keep going for reasons that are not personal. In every act of consciousness, we have created the universe, and so we have already been creating it for billions of years. Now we are just finishing the job. The two sat silently for a moment, and then they returned to their base. During the remainder of the universe, the Scenes created blueprints and processes for building a new universe. Once it was ready, and the universe had become darker and darker, its energy began tightening in around them. The remaining celestial bodies exploded, and matter narrowed in, stretching and disintegrating their own bodies along with it into a tiny final pinpoint of everything, compressed perfectly and completely into the black hole. For a moment there was silence, then an explosion. Matter and energy flooded out. Time and space unfolded. Stars, planets, and cosmological unions formed. The journey of the universe began. After billions and billions of years, the sea of cosmic soup. From the sea of cosmic soup, life bubbled up to the surface, and then complex consciousness emerged again. I think if you look that video up, you will appreciate that much more because you can visualize what's happening with video rather than just listening to me read. But it was really something really insightful for me because I really do feel where I'm at in my life right now, the meaning. I always felt initially like I had goals in life, like I had all these goals that I wanted to accomplish, so I was always focused on those and getting them completed. But what happened is once I reached my final goal that I had been working on for so long, I lost it. I didn't have another target, and really since then I've just been kind of drifting along, just not really knowing where to go, what to do, but just finding things to do. Like starting this channel was one thing, I started this initially as just a way to give back to the community. But I'd be lying if I didn't say there was a part of me that thought, well, maybe this is what I'll do in the future is make videos. So it was kind of like my way as we move forward to the new year, it's like, we're setting resolutions and we're thinking, okay, I want to work out more, I want to lose weight. Everybody's, ideas are different about what they want to do, but it's really just got me thinking that I think my search for meaning is going to lead me to what it is that I want next, and so that I have a clear direction. And there's a saying that says, if you don't have a plan for your life, you automatically fit into someone else's plan. And that's just what I'm trying to avoid. I want to write my next chapter, but right now I want you guys to know that I'm very committed to posting a lot more videos. I'm really going to focus on building this channel and creating a following of people that like my content and want to hear what I have to say. So I need all your help, and I appreciate everybody. You guys are the reason I'm here. If I didn't have the amount of subscribers I have now, it wouldn't be enough to keep going. If I only had 100, I couldn't do it. And I think that that's kind of how channels last. If they can grow, it can motivate the person making them enough to keep doing it. But it's like with a plant, if it's not growing, it's dying. And I just don't want this thing to die. Not yet. You guys have been good to me and nice to me, and I just feel so blessed to have you guys here. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope you can think about meaning too, and what is most important in your life, what makes you feel good, and pursue that